Hello, and welcome back. This is a continuation of the same class that we did. So I'll start from the same slide where we left off. Okay. So we were looking at the speed ratio for a simple gear train. Suppose there are three gears in a simple gear train. Okay. So gear one is not will be the follower, and gear three will be the driven or the follower. So we are supposed to find the speed ratio n1 by n3. Okay, n1 by n3. All right. So to know that, first we will consider the gear 1 and gear 2 as one gear train, and then gear 2 and gear 3 as the next gear train. Okay, so that is why over here speed ratio between gear 1 and gear 2, when I take gear 1 and gear 2, then gear 1 is the driver and gear 2 is the follower. So obviously the speed ratio between that will be n1 by n2, that is equal to the reversal of the number of teeth, so t2 by t1. Similarly, next I will take the speed ratio between gear 2 and gear 3. Okay, between gear 2 and gear 3, at that case gear 2 will be the driver and gear 3 will be the follower or the driven. So in that case I'll get n2 by n3, that is equal to t3 by 32. Now to get the speed ratio from one gear 1 to gear 3, I just have to multiply the equation 1 and 2. Okay, so n1 by n2 into n2 by n3 will give me t2 by t1 into t3 by t2. But now a little consideration will show that you can see that n2 and n2 are the same, right? It's the same, the speed of this gear is the same. So hence on the left hand side I'll get n1 by n3. Similarly here t2 and t2 is here, it will cancel out and I'll get t3 by 31. So therefore in case of a simple gear train, the speed ratio, that is the speed of the driver to speed of the driven, will always be equal to number of teeth on the driven gear divided by number of teeth on the driver. Okay, irrespective of the fact how many idle gears are there. See, in the final expression there is nowhere about the teeth number of the gear 3 teeth, or the speed or the number of teeth are not there at all. Okay, hence in case of a simple gear train, the speed ratio is always equal to number of teeth on the driven divided by number of teeth on the driver. Okay, so from the above we see that the speed ratio in case of a simple train of gears is independent of the size and number of intermediate gears. So it doesn't matter the intermediate gear are 1, 2 or how many are there. When I want to calculate the speed ratio, it doesn't count at all. It is always the number of teeth on the driver divided by driven divided by number of teeth on the driver. So we'll see the next slide. So this is again the third case, again a simple gear train, okay, where the power is transmitted from the gear number 1 to gear number 4. So the 1 is the driver and 4 is the follower. Again I'm supposed to find the speed ratio of this gear train arrangement. So speed ratio is nothing but n1 by n4, I know that, and that is equal to speed ratio is number of teeth on the driven divided by number of teeth on the driver. Okay, so that is nothing but t4 by t1. So n1 by n4 is equal to t4 by t1. So in case of simple gear trains, doesn't matter how many intermediate gears are there, it doesn't matter for me. The speed ratio is always equal to n1 by n4, and that is equal to number of teeth on the follower divided by number of teeth on the driver. Okay, so let's keep this in mind. Alright, so next we'll see what's a compound gear train. What is a simple gear train? In a simple gear train, a single shaft will have only one gear. Okay? So compound gear train. When there are more than one gear on a shaft, it is called a compound gear train. Okay, so more than one gear on a shaft. Right? So applications are in automobile, gearbox, lathe box. In many applications you see this. Okay, so let us see how it looks like. Okay, so here this purple shaft. Okay, on the same shaft there are two gears. Hence this combination is known as a compound gear. Okay, even in this case over here, in this particular shaft there are two gears, and this is known as a compound gear. Alright. So here in this example again, okay, on the shaft, on the middle shaft, there are two gears, gear B and gear C. Okay, so gear A is in mesh with gear B, and since B and C are on the same shaft, okay, so the speed of gear B and gear C are the same, and then gear C is in mesh with gear D, which again gives the motion. Okay. So in this particular gear train, gear A gives motion to gear B. Okay, since B and C are on the same shaft, okay, then C gives motion to gear D. Okay, So this is a, let us see how to find the speed ratio in case of compound gear train. Okay, so this is another example for a gear, say a compound gear train. If you see, mm, shaft A will have only one gear, but shaft B will have gear number 2 and gear number 3. So this is a compound gear here. Then again shaft C will have gear number 4 and 5. Okay, and then the gear number D will have a 6. Okay, so in this combination, if you see, number 1 is the driver and the last gear is the driven. Okay, and how is energy or power transformed from 1 to 6? Okay, gear 1 is in mesh with gear 2. Okay, you can see it in the top view also. Gear 1 is in mesh with gear 2. So 1 drives 2. Now since, so 2, the gear 2 drives the shaft. Okay, so shaft, on this shaft there is also gear 3. Okay, so that also rotates. So then in the second stage, gear 3 is in mesh with gear 4, which will transmit the power. Okay, so gear 4 rotates. When gear 4 rotates, the shaft rotates. Similarly, gear 5 also rotates. And then from then 5, gear 5 is in mesh with 6, which drives the gear 6. Okay, so this is how the power is being transmitted. Okay, so now let us calculate the speed ratio. So our aim is to calculate the N1 by N6. Okay, that is speed of gear 1 divided by speed of gear 6. N1 by N6 is the speed ratio, and to calculate that we will go step by step again. So speed ratio between gear 1 and 2. Why? Because they are in mesh here. Okay, they are in mesh. Okay, so in this case 1 becomes the driver and 2 becomes the follower. Okay, so that is N1 by N2, that is equal to T2 by T1. Okay, no problem. Now in the second stage what happens? 3 drives 4. Okay, the gear 3 drives 4. You see here it is in mesh. Okay, so 3 becomes the driver and 4 becomes the driven or the follower. Alright, so speed ratio between gear 3 and 4. Okay, N3 by N4. Why? N3 is the driver and N4 is the follower, hence it is T4 by T3. The last one is this here, 5 and 6. Okay, so speed ratio between gear 5 and gear 6 is N5 by N6 divided by T6 by T5. Okay, therefore then the speed ratio between from 1 to 6, okay, will be the multiplication of all the above. N1 by N2 into N3 by N4 into N5 by N6 gives you the T2 by T1 into T4 by T3 into T6 by T5. Okay, now again a little consideration will show that the speed of gear 2 and speed of gear 3 is the same. The speed of gear 2 and 3 is the same. Why? Because it's on the same shaft. Okay, at whatever speed the shaft will rotate, the same speed will have both the gears. Okay, hence that can cancel off. Similarly, speed of gear 4 and gear 5, because they're on the shaft C, they rotate, the speed is the same, hence that get cancelled out. So on the left hand side, I'll be left by N1 by N6. So the speed ratio will be N1 by N6, which is equal to T2 into T4 into T6 divided by T1 into T3 into T5. So if you observe here, the speed ratio, or that is the speed of the first driver to the speed of the last driver, is equal to product of number of teeth on the drivens divided by product of number of teeth on the drivers. Okay, so in a compound gear train, the speed ratio is given by product of number of teeth on the driven gears to that of the product of the number of teeth on the driver gears. Okay, then the next is the reverted gear train. In a reverted gear train, the input and output shafts are on the same axis. Okay, so if you see here, the gear number 1 is the input shaft which drives the gear 2, and gear 2 and gear 3 are kind of on the same shaft, and then gear 3 drives the gear 4, but which is the output shaft. But this gear, the axis of gear 1 and axis of gear 2 are on the same line. They are not connected, but they are on the same line. So this kind of a compound gear train where the input shaft and the output shaft are on the same axis is known as reverted gear train. Okay. Here the distance between the centers of the two gears in each pair are same. If you see, the center distance between the gear 1 and gear 2 and gear 3 and gear 4 are the same. Okay, and this kind of gears are also used in many applications like automobile transmission, watches and clocks, lathe gears and all, etc. Now Since the distance between the gear 1 and gear 2 as well as gear 3 and gear 4 are the same, you see in the sketch, okay, this center distance and this distance is the same, okay, hence we can always write that the radius of 1 plus radius of 2 of gear 2 is equal to radius of gear 3 plus radius of gear 4, right? Very common sense, we can always see because the axes are on the same line, okay. Now, in such cases, the number of teeth on each gear is directly proportional to its circumference or radius. Okay, that means T1, T2, that is the number of teeth on gear 1 plus number of teeth on gear 2 is equal to the sum of the number of teeth on gear 3 plus number of teeth on gear 4. Okay, and also I think I have told you the bigger the size of the gears, the more are the number of teeth. That is, as its radius or as its diameter increases, the number of teeth, okay, on the gear increases. So even this expression holds good. Okay, R1 plus R2 is equal to R3 plus R4. In that case, T1 plus T2 is equal to T4 plus T3 plus 3T4. Okay. Then now let us calculate the speed ratio. Okay, that is the product of number of teeth on the driven divided by number of teeth on the drivers, because it is kind of a compound gear train. Even this will hold good. So now here between 1 and 2, which is the driver? Gear 1 is the driver, gear 2 is the driven. Then gear 3 is the driver and gear 4 is the driven. Okay, hence T2 into T4, that is the driven gears, sum of teeth of the driven gears divided by sum of teeth on the driver gear, that is T1 into T3. The next one is the planetary gear train. See, in each of the gear trains that we looked before, okay, in that the gears used to rotate about its own axis. Okay, the axis of the rotation was stationary and the gear used to rotate at the same axis. Now, in an epicyclic gear train, the axis of the shaft over which the gears are mounted may move relative to a fixed axis. Okay, it may move relative to a fixed axis. All right. So, in this arrangement, there is gear A. And there is an arm, which is this is an arm, see, about a center O1, and gear B, which is in mesh with gear A, is about the center O2. Okay, now suppose if the arm is fixed, if I fix the arm, right, and give a rotation to A, what will happen? Since it is in mesh with gear B, it will rotate B, and hence it will be in a simple gear train. It will be in a simple gear train. But if gear A is fixed and the arm is rotated about the axis of the gear, okay, then B is forced to rotate upon and around A. If I fix A and if I give rotation to B, what will happen? The B will rotate around A. It will first of all rotate about its axis O2, but also rotate about the gear A. Such an arrangement is known as epicyclic gear train. Okay, see here. Okay, so here gear B, it moves about its axis as well as about the center of the bigger gear. So such an arrangement is known as epicyclic gear train. Okay, so this is the same example. All right, an epicyclic gear train is shown in the figure where gear A and arm C have a common axis at O1 about which they rotate. The gear B meshes with gear A and has its own axis on the arm O2 about which the gear B can rotate. Okay, if the arm is fixed, the gear train is simple and gear A can drive gear B or vice versa. It's a simple gear train. If gear A is fixed and the arm is rotated about the axis of gear A, then gear B is forced to rotate upon and around gear A. Such a motion is called epicyclic, and the gear trains arranged in such a manner that one or more of their members move upon and around another member are known as epicyclic gear train. Okay, an epicyclic gear train is also another case, and gear train is an gear arrangement consisting of one or more gears, planet meshed and rotating around a central sun. The planet gears are fixed on a carrier arm designed to rotate on the same center as shown in the figure. Okay? So in this arrangement, the bigger gear is known as the sun and the gears around it, small gears, are known as planet, and this is known as the carrier or the carrier arm. Okay, so we have seen this in automobile differential watches and all. Okay, see here. Okay, so this center one is known as the sun. The three gears around them are known as planets, and the outer one is known as the ring gear. It's known as the ring gear. Okay, so one more, couple of more here. Okay, again the center one is known as the sun. This is known as the planet. In this case, this is the sun. This blue are the planet, and outer one is the ring. Okay, so we will continue in the next class.